So what's up, everyone? We are live 2 a.m. in Sweden. Literally, it's 2:30 in the morning in Sweden. I am one of your hosts of the show, Hayes at AO Shifty, with the one, the only Steven at Steven underscore Springs. Steven, how you been? How's life going? How's everything going in the world?
Not great, right? First of all, I didn't know you were in Sweden until just now. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know if we've talked about this or what, but I don't recall if we did. So I'm not even gonna say that's on me. Not like we would do this. Like this is what we do it when you're in Sweden. Like, but I just didn't know you were
Yep.
going. Um,
Mhm.
so there's that. I back today to get my elbow looked at. Get like the golfer's elbow in there and shit like that.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
I don't know what thought sparked this thought in my brain, but um, I in work was one like what today was one of those days, you know. But
Hmm.
I realized like I just I just don't care about a lot of things, like anything that doesn't like impact me or like the people around me. I just don't care, you know. I feel like when I see something on the news that like should make me feel some type of way, I don't. Doesn't mean I don't care. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but like, there's too much going on, man. You
Doug.
know, there's too much going on.
So it's might be a little glitchy for anyone
Okay.
out there.
Back up. How
Mhm.
Sweden, I guess.
It's this was probably one of my more favorite trips for multiple different reasons. Number one, I found probably one of my more favorite restaurants. A lot of the restaurants here were always like bland. Yesterday, I went to the sorry, for me, it was yesterday. For most people, it might still be the same day, if anything. But so on Monday, I went to this Italian restaurant here. Yesterday, which was Tuesday, I went to this French restaurant. It was probably one of the best ones that I ended up having. Um, I had this thing called uh, cap- Cappuccio.
Sure.
Pretty good. It was a starter.
What was that?
Cappuccio.
Well, yeah, I heard you, but what is it?
Oh, I thought you said what was that? Like
Yeah.
for me to pronounce again. It's essentially it looks like a tomato, but it's not a tomato. It's basically a piece of beef. And then on top of it, it's like mushrooms. Then you have arugula, and then they use some sort of sauce and seasoning. And the cool part about that is they just brought on um this random person just put in the chat. That's what threw me off. Uh they the new chef is from Paris that
Mm.
they ended up just bringing on 2 weeks ago. So I was like, oh shit, like that's dope. So I had that. And then for the main meal, I know they're gonna get mad at me. It's either hake or hake. It's
Mm.
Hake. It's a type of like fish.
Mm.
And that was like really good. And then
Never
I
heard of
had
that.
some, yeah, I know. I didn't either. Like half the things, funny enough, I was going to get this other meal that's called pluma. And the reason why I didn't get it, I found out that whole time they're like, oh, it's beef, like it'll be good. And then they looked it up. They were like, it's a piece of a pig's back. And I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go with the fish. That sounds very good. So I had that. The best food here, honestly, is the cafeteria that my job has. Greatest food ever. It's not like your regular cafeteria. So that was good. I guess since we're at this point, I'll bring it up so Steven can get mad at me now instead of later. So number one, yesterday and today, whole time they're always like, "Oh, Christian, um, do you golf in America? Do you golf?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't do go all the time." Like one of my best friends gets mad at me because I don't golf enough, and they're like, "What's your handicap?" And I said, "Oh, I'm like get their asses on this one," and I was like a 90. They're like, "What? A 90? Like you have a 90?" I was like, "Yep, a 90. You want to ask stupid questions? So I'm gonna give you stupid answers." And they were like, is there different handicaps, different places in the world, like internationally? I was like, yep, there are. And then to the whole time, like he was so mind boggled that I said a 90. And then he gets to the table, like the two other golfers, or like they were talking Swedish, and they were like, is there a way to get a 90? I was like, Henrik, I'm joking. Like, that's not what I get. And he's
Do
like,
you
oh,
know
I don't know
what
your
a handicap
humor.
is?
I do. Essentially,
Okay.
it's the amount that you potentially end up feeling that you're over par.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Very close.
And so I was I ended up talking to them, then we finally got on the range. We only could do not so they have a 9 hole at this one. It's a par 3 9 hole. It's not your average par 3 9 hole, I promise you, because there were two other people in front of us. And so there's two different it's not a pond, like small bodies of water that are out there. It's not a creek, promise you, it's just a random little plop of water. And they hazard every time. So of course, me thinking, oh, I'm gonna get out there. I'm gonna find a way to hit it over. I hit back-to-back balls into the water.
Of course.
Let's just start with that. And this was maybe on the third hole. I end up finishing. I'm very transparent on the show. So it's a par three. So not 27 is gonna get you your score. I'm pretty sure I got a
Mhm.
49. And I was like, all right, you know what? For this course, I didn't have my own any of the American clubs. Theirs are very different than here. Um, there were two little small bodies of water around it. One was on the side of it, so if you end up always hitting to the right, you were going to hit in the water. If you hit too far on one of them, you were going in the water. So you know what your boy did on the one that you could either hit to the left or to the right, and I hit left-handed, so my follow through goes to the right. So it absolutely went in the water. So on one of the holes, it took me 10 shots to end up doing it. I just could never get it over. But after that, I was straight either 4 or 5 shots each time.
I'm telling you,
The
bro,
person I what?
you gotta go golf. Gotta do it. Like, there's no, I no excuses, honestly. Like,
Mhm.
you gotta go do it.
Yeah. So my friend got a 44, and he said his handicap is usually a 14 or 15. So I was like, your handicap is a 14 or 15. And I told him mine's probably closer to 25 on my greatest day ever.
I
And
would
I was
say
that close to you.
I don't know what mine is, but I would say mine is probably in the 14 to 20 range for
See?
reference.
That-
And I play um a decent amount in the summer.
yeah. Yeah. So I was like, that's since I found this course, every time I go, I'm probably just going to go for numerous different reasons. One is going to be if I go with anybody I work with, I don't have to pay for it. So that's probably the simplest thing to do. But yeah, that was the golf one. I have 2 more days here still. So come next week, there will be other stories. But before we get into anything else, the main thing I do want to lean on Steven for is number one, how's the sporting life and everything in America? Because I'm shut off from everything here. Like I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, why is the Raiders game still on TV? So they're just ending the game just to give everyone context of that. Number two, tell us about the quick slants.
So, okay. Best thing to do if people are in your situation, I don't
Hmm.
always follow ESPN, but ESPN has a top headline segment or on the homepage. Um,
Yeah.
that's where people can go. Tom Brady's in the news.
Oh, I heard.
I still like don't really understand, but people making a big deal about it. Um, um, the NFL, there are still teams, and we'll get into it. There are still teams that are complete dog shit. Don't
Dogs.
worry. Joe Burrow is out 3 months at least
That sucks. Yeah.
with toe surgery. They did sign former Penn State quarterback Sean Clifford. The Bengals did.
Hmm.
Um, the WNBA playoffs are in full swing.
Hmm.
Thank God. I know we're
I didn't
all
know.
waiting for that. Yes, yes. So college football in full swing, obviously. Then Penn State has a bye week this week. I was at the game last weekend.
Yeah,
with my
y'all
boy
didn't cover
David. Yeah, with my boy David. Yes, cover. Very close. Last play of the game.
last
Great
play.
catch,
Yeah.
but hate to see it. Vegas is very what they do. So went up with David. That was great. He's a Villanova guy, so he got to see State College for the first time for a game. Penn State got the W. Quick slants. Gonna do same thing as always about the game. Like I said, we have a bye week. We have Oregon in 2 weeks for the whiteout. Probably not gonna talk a lot about that, but we'll go over some of the other stuff. I follow this more now because we were there. Arch Manning is losing everything. I heard. Do you know who Danny Cannell is?
Yes. Yeah.
White dude on ESPN quarterback.
Yeah.
So he said something today. Like I don't think is accurate, but it's not like the worst thing I've ever heard. Right, in terms of like a hot take. If it's not the best thing, but I've heard people say crazier things. Said that like the Arch Manning thing is turning into like the Ben Simmons, like a Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz. Like they're losing, like he's just losing confidence in himself. Is everybody around him? And I watched some of the highlights from their game, and he just missed a lot of throws. His mechanics are just not great. They're going to struggle big time offensively against better teams. They can get away with it because they have stupid good athletes. Their defense is one of the best in the country, but offensively, they're not going to be able to put up a lot of points. He just looks, off, and he doesn't look confident. And I don't know. I don't think we talked about this last week, but people asked me a couple of like my college football buddies when I was up in State College, like, what's the vibe down in Austin in terms of like the team? And I'm like, they didn't really give a shit like about Arch. It didn't seem like they were like super like really into Arch. I feel like after the Texas game, and we talked about it before, like it was either going to be the highest of highs or the lowest. I think a lot of people were like, they saw like 14-7. They're like, damn, like, can't have that. But that's it. Like, and things are just kind of like they've been winning. Like they beat San Jose State 38-7, but like he didn't look great doing it. You had mentioned at one point, during like he had completed like 11 passes, but like 4 of them were like something, and then it was like, all right, well, he's had a lot of incompletions too, a lot of bad throws. And then his game on Saturday, he didn't look great. Like they didn't look great, but they can get away with it because UTEP is booty cheeks, and it happens. Penn State's not in a similar boat, but like they haven't looked great against inferior teams. Now we really pile on at the end of these games, but like 21-0 at the half against Villanova. Final score was 52-6. People wanted that score at halftime, and it's like no one's ever happy with it. But yeah, Texas, like I don't know, man. Like Notre Dame, 0-2, lost. They're still ranked. Clemson, they were one of my picks to. Yeah, I don't know. Clemson was one of my picks to be in the Final Four. The 1-2, not ranked anymore. Now with the college football playoffs, no one's saying that any of these team seasons are over. But again, you can't lose the rest of the way. Like Notre Dame has to win 10 games in a row now. Like they very well could. They did it last year. But I don't know if I trust their quarterback, CJ Carr. He's really good, but I don't trust him. Ohio State struggled against Ohio. They didn't look great until the end. They have a bye week this week, so there's no South Carolina lost to Vanderbilt. Shout out to Vanderbilt.
That's crazy. Shout out. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no dominant team in college football. Like, Penn State, Ohio State, probably, and maybe Georgia. I guess Miami to some degree, probably like the best teams right now. Like we're dominating.
It took Georgia overtime though, didn't it? Against Tennessee.
So Penn State is the only team in the top 10 that hasn't moved at all. Ohio State jumped us to go to number 1 after they beat Texas, but outside of that, Penn State's the only team that has not moved. And the AP poll, it's released every week, and then the voters are released and where they vote everybody. That's a whole topic every single fucking week. Every single week, these voters don't know what they're talking about. They don't.
Yeah,
they're just lying to the entire country. So there's a handful of things going on right now. Also bullshit stuff, but we gotta keep busy with things, right?
So I have a couple of questions for you off of all that, number one, we're going to go back to the quick slants because when someone's flying for 7.5 to 8 hours, they have a shit ton of time to listen to
Hmm.
everything in the world. The first one, going back to the quick slants, is you talk about a potential top five player that is potentially on the line. Uh, I want to give you the floor to explain who this up and coming top five player at Penn State is.
Who is that? Who are we referring to? Who am I referring to?
He plays alongside Deny.
Oh, Chaz Coleman. So this kid, we got true freshman defensive end. His name is Chaz Coleman, and he is. I think he's been on campus for like 4 months, maybe now.
Hmm.
I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", 240. But he's got, and I texted Jordan, and I've heard from other like players like in interviews, and everyone's like, yeah, this kid's gonna be a first round pick, and
Hmm.
a very raw, like still got like a ways to go per se because he is a true freshman, but like D ends, D tackles, it's really hard to like be that guy this early. And outside of a quarterback, like the quarterback is the most important person on the field. Second most might be to get the quarterback as a D end. Like, and this kid's already a problem now. He's only
Hmm.
going to get better. And then, like I said, we have a bye week, so Oregon. That's one of those games where, like, yeah, he finally goes up against a big time player, and we don't hear his name. So, but all things considered, right now, and how long he's been on campus and been in a Penn State uniform, kid's gonna be a problem for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's the first one I wanted to end up bringing up because anyone that listens to the quick links, you'll hear Steven talk about that. Number two that I want to ask you about, actually, forget it. I've been nice enough for 17 minutes on this show. ODU beat Virginia Tech, and this is the third time that they upset Virginia Tech. And this
Yeah.
is an amazing thing. They got paid $400,000 to do this, and they upset them. The final score does not explain to you how this game really started
Mm-hmm.
because ODU was waxing that ass in Blacksburg, and then later on, Blacksburg, aka Virginia Tech, came back, but it wasn't good enough to the point that they had to fire their coach and they brought in an interim head coach. And that's just off of ODU. Now, will ODU win the rest of their games? Probably not. But this is a one game you can always count on that ODU is always going to come to play because they get the money. And then Steven said it best, it's a Penn State on Penn State crime. But shout out to ODU for all that they end up doing in that game. Had to end up doing it at that point.
Yes. Shout out to ODU and shout out to head coach at ODU, Ricky Ronnie, former Penn
Yep.
State offensive coordinator. And shout out to Brent Pry, who just got fired
Yep.
at Virginia Tech. Shout out to him, former Penn
Shout
State
out.
defense coordinator. So yeah, yeah. Shout out
Yeah.
ODU, dude.
Shout out. It does suck. I will admit, being the head coach of ODU and you beat someone that was from the same former school as you, you
Mhm.
know it doesn't feel good in that sense of like, damn, you
Hey,
made him lose his job.
but fuck him, right?
Yeah, hey, fuck him. At the end of the day, fuck the Jags and fuck him. Uh, the next one that I have for you is this whole Arizona State. That kid, Jordan Tyson. That's one thing people have been talking about a lot that I've been hearing about. And then the other one is his quarterback. For me being all the way across the world, can you explain to people, especially me, what's going on? How big was that uh, jump man Jordan throw to a leaping touchdown? But then in general, are they really that good?
Arizona State, you mean?
Yep. Yeah.
No, I don't think they are. They had a good Cinderella run last year, but they also had Scatterborough, or
Yep.
what his name is, right?
Close.
But
Attaboy, New York.
their receivers climbing the ranks in the in the draft and all the mock drafts. It's 3 games in the season. I hate doing this. I'm also at the point now with my sports fandom where like we're 3 games in, 2 games in the NFL season. The whole world is crashing down on everything. So I really like to take a break and just like let's pump the brakes. But you got to go out and do it, no matter who you're playing. And these Sam Levitt, I think, is the quarterback at
Yep. Yes.
some also a guy who came in with high expectations and people were looking at him as a top 3 quarterback in college football, and therefore a top 3 quarterback heading into the draft. You know, they aren't doing as well as the preseason rankings would say. That's why preseason rankings don't mean shit, because actually I wrote this down really quick. The preseason top 10. I actually wrote this down for the quick science because I'm doing something.
Yeah.
The preseason top 10 was Texas, Penn State, Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia, Notre Dame, Oregon, Bama, LSU, Miami. Round out the top 10. Now it's Ohio State, Penn State, LSU, Miami, Georgia, Oregon, Florida State, Texas,
I know.
Illinois. Illinois is ranked 9th.
I know.
And Texas A&M. Texas A&M with a big win over Notre Dame in South Bend. Georgia they moved up a little bit. They moved back down. Clemson, again, ranked. Notre Dame, 24th, 0-2. Alabama dropped a little bit. Texas, they're not the preseason number 1 team everyone thought they were going to be. Overrated, probably maybe the most overrated team in the country is Texas. Illinois, what? Shout out to Brad Bielema, I guess. They got Indiana this weekend in Bloomington, I believe. In Texas A&M, Mike Elko finally has a big win over Notre Dame. What does that mean for Notre Dame? So, there's no, dominant ball this year. LSU, Garrett Nussmeier, they look pretty good. Again, Penn State, Ohio State, pretty consistent, dogging teams that they should be. But Arizona State, another one of the teams, high expectations heading the year. I think they were a top 15 team in the preseason rankings. Look at the top 25. Not there.
Yeah.
But they also play in a very weak conference, so things can always turn around. Again, 3 games in, let's wait. Their coach cracks me up though. He's one of those coaches that just says shit. And it sticks, kind of. But anyway, we don't have time for that.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, because there's a couple of things on there that I wanted to end up touching on. Number one, there's a couple of games. The first one is Penn State, Oregon. Steven did say that potentially could be a top 5 matchup. It's 2-6 right now. That's a big thing, just coming towards the end of September. The next one is the famous Triple R, the Red River rivalry, and Texas is 8, Oklahoma is 11. It's not a big time 8-11, because yes, Texas does not seem like that 8 team. That's the next thing I want to bring up. Going off of that, we then have Notre Dame at 24, but they have not won a game. And that's something that I personally think is surprising. But the big one looking at this, Vandy has continued to move up. I'm saying this for multiple different reasons. Vandy has moved up, but also the teams coming up on their schedule, those ticket prices have started to increase. You would never have guessed that going to a Texas Vandy game, you're going to have to pay at least $160 to essentially be up there talking to God. So that's the starting price. In the beginning of the season, that was not like that. But them coming off of a win with South Carolina and them having other big name teams on the schedule is important. And the main one I wanted to bring up, and we brought this up last week, Florida. We said that schedule does not get easier, and they are 0-2 now. It's only going to get harder. And they have a lot of games on that schedule. They just lost to LSU. It's not going to get easier from here. So it's going to be a lot of difficulty down there. And what all is going to end up happening, I don't really know. Final one, if you remember in the beginning of the season, I asked Steven about Illinois because I had no idea anything about it, but people were saying, oh, they might make the college football playoffs. They're going to be a good team. I didn't know they would be number 9. So that's something that'll probably be a story each and every week that we'll have to cover. But that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about on that side. Steven, have you followed or been paying attention to anything when it comes to the fiscal year numbers of budgets in college football and how much money some of these schools spend or have spent?
Yes, I see the recruiting budgets for a lot of these schools. Ohio State was not on the list this year.
Yeah,
but because they spent it all last year. I think they were top 10 maybe last year. Which when you see the numbers, none of it's surprising. Like who the top schools are, But it is
Yeah.
like you can obviously see most of the time you can see direct correlation between spending where their recruiting classes are ranked.
Hmm.
Damn near every time.
Yeah. Look at the number one for 2024. Bama was number one, but hey, Caleb, you got to do something down there because for you to have an operating budget of everything of 113 million is insanely wild to have, and you're not winning games. A&M, everyone probably expected just because everything that's going on down there. And look how quick they got Jimbo out of there. It
Mm.
wasn't even a drop in the bucket. Washington is one looking at the list that's surprising from the standpoint of you spent so much money last year. So imagine what they're doing this year for it. And then, of course, you have Nebraska that's up there. That's really the other one. I was surprised at number 20, Iowa's there at 55 million.
Man, it would suck to pay this kind of money and like not be that good.
Hell yeah. Like Arkansas?
So okay, real quick, I want to bring this up, but I didn't want to interrupt you.
Hmm.
As you mentioned, right? So looking at it, what do you think the lowest ticket price is for the Penn State Oregon game? Mind you, we're 2 weeks out.
Hmm.
Penn State has a bye week. Oregon plays Oregon State this weekend. It's potentially right now it's not, but potentially going to be a top 5 matchup. What do you think the low ticket price is?
I would say $92.
Are you kidding me? Is that your guess?
Yeah.
Come on, dog. Come on. Come on, bro. I thought you
I'm
better than
I'm
that.
I'm
Think,
super low, aren't
think,
I?
think, 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 think. Just think.
Uh 170.
$439.
What?
$439 for the low
It
ticket
didn't
price.
start that way. It was not that way like 2 weeks ago. I
Bro,
monitored that.
$439 for
Damn.
I honestly I'd have to go back and look. I'm this is like a prison of the moment in real time. I don't want that to happen, but I cannot remember a game like Ohio State is usually like 200-300 bones. Like you're dipping into like low four, and then I saw some yesterday. What's that?
Nope, not even gonna try. It's 481. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, and I in some like $800, dude. I saw one the other day for $1,000. I can't tell you the last time I saw ticket prices for a Penn State game that high or that low. That's
Yeah,
like $439, dude.
that's one
Yo,
game.
shout out.
Shout out.
I need to say thank you to Jay Hill now
Yeah,
because man, that changes everything. When you
yeah,
can get
yeah.
tickets and you have like a source for tickets and you don't need to worry about it,
Hmm.
like I'll sleep in my car, I'll drive up the day of, like
Yeah,
whatever, dude. Like that's no ticket prices are astronomical these days for these games. If you have a connection for those,
yeah,
shout out to the homies, dude.
yeah. Shout out. It then can you only imagine housing? Because I'll never forget when we stayed up there, and was that Ohio State game, and there were people in like the living room and stuff
Everywhere, dude. Everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah, that's how it is for
Everywhere.
those big time games. That's an important thing. The other thing, I know that you guys love to hear what we always talk about on the college football landscape of things. We got to go over to some things in the NFL. And last week, before we get into the picks and everything like that, so Steven had, I'm going to redo all the numbers because it seems as though we just did too well for life itself. But Steven was 14-2, and I was
Hell
13
yeah.
and 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was over here trying to calculate it for 13 and 3 and 14 and 2. Like
Sheesh.
that was a solid week. Granted, we had so many together, and I was like, hold on, is it really that obvious of games this week? I guess it must have been.
This week,
That's the first thing.
this week could be perfect. This could be one of those weeks because
Yeah.
there are some shit teams playing some good teams.
Yes.
There are some shit teams in the NFL right now. We're gonna talk about them.
Yeah, we'll go through it all. The couple of things I want to bring up, just going off of last week that I was able to see. You brought up Joe Burrow. People don't understand how big that is for him, but then also they were saying how many sacks Andrew Luck had prior to his retirement, and they're comparing it to Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has more right now, and they're saying that he needs to have help. They thought it was going to be fine, and now he's injured again. So it's something they really need to shore up because you have two solid wide receivers. You're not investing in the defense. You're not investing in the O line. You have two great receivers. You have a good tight end, and you have a solid up and coming running back, but you're not putting anything in front of Joe Burrow. And he is a really good quarterback for you not to be focusing on. The second one is the Packers continue to lose wide receivers. And these receivers are going down with hella bad injuries. The first thing is I was talking to someone that I don't know, they're not even a doctor, but they were able to analyze the injury before it happened to Jaden Reed. And even the news was saying, oh, it's an AC sprain. And they were like, it's not an AC sprain. I was like, what do you know that they don't know? They were like, it's a broken collarbone. Like, watch, it's going to come out. And the whole time I was like, no, you're wrong. So I got to apologize to them because it came out the next day. They have a fractured collarbone. And they were saying, it's wild that they were explaining that a fractured collarbone you can come back from. It'll end up healing, doing whatever, and you're good. If it was an AC sprain, they were saying that's a long-term injury. Even if you end up doing that, I'm over here like I don't know how the hell you know that, but your information is clearly correct. The Commanders, their quarterback number one is injured, so we'll see how that ends up playing out. Number two, the Packers just look that good right now. It's early, but Micah is helping them out on defense. They had a good defense, but he's for sure shoring it up. You just can't let him get injured. If he gets injured, that defense takes a massive fall. And this reminds me of when Khalil Mack would move teams. Like the motion that he had when he moved teams, it definitely made an adjustment. But what are your thoughts? Because Mike is your boy.
Um, yeah, he looks like he's in like a better situation. Their defense is legit. Yeah, I think he just the change of scenery and Green Bay. Sure, they might be like the Green Bay Packers, but like they stay out of the news.
Yeah,
And it's not like they're not the Dallas Cowboys, obviously, but I think that helps as well. That it's just like, all right, we heard about it. They talk about it every game, Micah Parsons, but we're going to be 3, 4, or 5 games in the season soon. So I think that's going to wind down, and he's just going to be like another dude. But shit, what were we talking about before we started talking about the Packers? Oh, Joe Burrow, right?
yeah.
If Joe Burrow would have stayed healthy, which would mean that he had a good offensive line. If he would have taken like half as many hits or just had one injury, man, we would be talking about him more than we would be talking about Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He took that team to the Super Bowl, and people were like, "Oh, that was so long ago." That was so long ago. I'm like, I don't care. You know how hard that is to do.
Yeah.
Like to take a team to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen hasn't done it. Lamar Jackson hasn't done it. We all know that. And like who what's his name? Justin Herbert hasn't done that. No, like who else? Like Jalen Hurts. Like there's only like a few guys in the league that are doing that. Obviously, Mahomes, yes, but like Joe Burrow was that. Like he was heading towards that, like being that guy. Just injuries, man. It sucks because you have prime Jamar Chase and teams is no slouch. He's really good. And Mitchell Tinsley is coming on a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, that sucks, dude. That's so unfortunate. I have nothing against Joe Burrow. We saw what we did in college, and
nice.
He had the same dude. He was thrown to the same guy.
Yeah.
He had the same dude. Like that was going to be like the next great row, and that we got robbed of that for sure. Because like imagine what Jamar Chase's numbers would be like if he stays healthy. Like they'd be stupid.
3 months.
He'd probably have an MVP or so. 3 months, bro. 3 months.
That's December. If all goes well.
At that point, you might as well not even come back.
Shut him down. Yeah. So that's really tough to end up seeing. That's a tough blow. On the other side, A tough blow is Steven just gave this man his flowers last week. In
Oh,
JJ
fuck
McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy, dude. I'm so done with him now. I'm so done. I am so done. That looked like JJ McCarthy.
JJ McCarthy. Yes, I know. It was not good. It was not a good performance against the Falcons. That's the other one I wanted to end up bringing up. Just because I don't really know what's going on. The final thing that I'll talk about is, well, two things. Sorry. Number one, Justin Fields getting injured. That's another one that sucks. I mean, they go to Tyrod Taylor, so that's not
Wait,
too
what
bad.
happened to Justin? Did I miss that? What happened to Justin Fields?
I'm pretty sure he got a concussion
Oh,
from
okay.
last I ended up
Okay.
checking, which it's not super bad, but
Sure.
it's an injury that might keep him out of game. The other one, Tyreek Hill might as well start packing up because the Dolphins just keep getting worse every single game. It just doesn't even make any sense at that point. But I set it up on that side. We'll go with the first game, the Thursday night game. If you're here in Sweden, it's essentially the Friday morning game, but Dolphins Bills.
Dolphins are trash. Bills.
So Bills, I have to go with. I'm not even going to say any jokes on that one. Next one, Packers Browns.
Browns are also dog shit. I'm going to Packers.
Yeah, that's one we don't even have to talk about. I have the Packers in that one as well. Next one, I'm assuming we're going to guess the same because he's been doing really well. Colts Titans.
Daniel Jones, sneaky MVP pick. Tyler Warren is going to win Offensive Player of the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, we got the same one on that one. I don't have to say anything. Next one, I don't really know. Bengals Vikings.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Eagles.
Would you say
Wait, what are we doing? What game was it?
Bengals Vikings?
Oh, bang!
I was
Sorry,
like,
my fault. Dog, my fault. Yeah, man, it's a toss up now. You know what? I'm over JJ McCarthy. I'm going Bengals.
yeah. It's only way for this.
And he's hurt.
Yeah,
McCarthy's hurt. So
yeah,
whatever, he's done anyway. It's gonna be a shitty game.
it is. I know. Only way it could be better is for any Jamar Chase fan out there.
Mhm.
But I have the Bengals. Steelers Patriots.
This is not a must win for the Steelers, but the vibe in Pittsburgh is low right now. Aaron Rodgers looks good though. They just need to get the offense going and they need to stop the run a little bit. They're not dog shit, but close enough. I'm going Pittsburgh.
Yeah. I'm going Pittsburgh as well. Steelers do need to step the defense up because we always knew the Steelers for that defense. And some of these teams that they're playing against, they're not living up to like the Seahawks. They should have done much better against the Seahawks when it came to their run game. So I'm still going with the Steelers on that one. Of course, when they played the Jets, it was running quarterback. But the next one is Rams Eagles.
Eagles.
So I don't like to pick them, and this might be my downfall, but I'm going with the Eagles. Next one, Jets Bucks.
Man, the Bucks took a lot of hits last night.
Yeah,
But the Jets are kind of still some shit. So I'm gonna go with the Bucks.
yeah. Baker's turned his career around. We just talked about the Rams, but he was on the Panthers, went to the Rams. Sean McVay gave him a chance. It was one of the best things possible. He ended up going to Tampa after that, and it's just been on another level. I know Steven brought up Tyler Warren as Offensive Rookie of the Year. Emeka Buka might have something to say
Facts. Yeah,
right
facts.
now, but it's it's not a surprise to either of us. We were saying in the beginning he's right there. It's more of what is Chris Godwin's role going to be when he comes back? Because Emeka Buka is not coming off the field at this point. So anyone that knew about him before the season knew that this would end up being something. You have to figure out, does Chris Godwin even need to come back this year? Do you end up just continuing to rest him off of his
Mhm.
injury? And then what about Mike Evans? How is that going to end up playing out? But you can tell there's a shift in the power right there. Mike Evans is probably 1B. Emeka Buka is going closer to that 1A point of view. So I have the Bucks in that, needless to say. Next one, Raiders Commanders.
Ashton T is overrated, and I'm going with the
Yep.
Commanders.
I'm gonna pick another player from the Raiders, and I'm gonna say Geno Smith. Shout out to you for pinning teams inside of the 5-yard line just off of interceptions because
Shout
homie
out.
was throwing them for days. I'm going with the Commanders in that one. I don't feel it was too much for the Commanders last week. Are they on the Packers level? I'd probably say no. But can they beat some other quality teams? Yes. So I'm going with the Commanders in that one. Next one we have is the Falcons Panthers.
Panthers are complete shit.
Shit.
I'm going to Falcons.
I'm going with the Falcons as well. I have to say nothing about the Panthers. Next one's probably the easiest game of the whole time. We have the Texans Jaguars.
So fuck the Jags, but I'm picking the Jags.
Fuck the Jags. So I'm gonna say fuck the Jags, and I'm going with the Texans.
Yeah.
The Texans need a win. They can't keep losing at the rate that they're going because it's starting to look like the Colts are going to take over. But I got the Texans in this one. Next one, Broncos Chargers.
I'm gonna go Chargers.
Yeah. So I have the Chargers as well. The Broncos do have a solid defense, but Chargers just look good. This again, we're gonna say this about another game coming up later down the line, and I have a lot to say about that game. But the Chiefs do not look like the Chiefs of before, and we saw this toward the tail end of last year. It was starting to fall off, but them keeping it going right now is a big thing. So with that being said, the Chargers, this could be that year that they could take the division. I'm not saying it will happen, but if they keep going this way and they win some of those AFC West games, that's all you really need to take over the division. Raiders don't look like they're going to take it at this point because Raiders don't know what the hell that they're doing over there. So needless to say, all that I have the Chargers. Next one, Saints Seahawks.
Number one, the Saints might be the worst team in the league. Number two, I think the Seahawks are for real. I drafted Sam Darnold in one of my fantasy leagues because I think that offense can really be something once it gets going. Saw some glimpses of it against Pittsburgh. Jackson Smith-Njigba is great. Kenneth Walker is also turning the corner again. Hopefully he stays healthy. That defense is solid, and it's in Seattle, New Orleans. I mean, again, they're booty cheeks, so I'm gonna go Seattle.
Yeah, I have the Seahawks in that one too. They do look good. Next one, Cowboys Bears.
Speaking of dog shit, the Bears. Going with Cowboys.
So I'm going with the Cowboys as well. Rome Odunze is starting to look like maybe that wide receiver 1, and DJ Moore is wide receiver 1B, if anything. But continue to pay attention to that one. I don't know what they're doing over there, but I'm just going to go with the Cowboys in this one. Next one we have is the Cardinals 49ers.
Niners have 1,000 injuries. I'm going with the Cardinals.
Wow. Okay. So I agree with you on the Niners have 1,000 injuries. I'm just going to hope that they can keep rumbling, bumbling, and stumbling to wins. And I got the 49ers in that one. Next one, they need this win more than probably any team. Chiefs, Giants.
I think they get it. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
Yeah. So I have the Chiefs as well in this one. And the final game I have is Lions Ravens.
Lions. Fuck the Ravens.
Yeah. That's a surprise that you end up saying that. But I have the Ravens. Big thing for this one. So I will be at this game. And so my brother's birthday was the other day. And I was like, all right, let's see what I can get him. And then someone from the Ravens hit me up saying, like, hey, do you want field passes for the game? So I was like, all right, let me check out with my brother. So we're going to that game. So it's Monday Night Football.
Another thing that I really thought I wasn't gonna find out until the day of. I get like a pic of you and your brother on the field pregame.
Yeah.
That's some shit you would do. But I mean, shout out to the homies, dude.
Yeah. So I tell everyone, these are the random, it happens in waves. It'll be random different perks. I don't think I have it with me, but I'll show you guys another time. The Texans sent me this jacket. It's probably one of the dopest jackets. If anyone remembers back in the day, the starter jackets, how clean those were. This is really how that one is. So appreciate that one for the Texans, but then also the Ravens did this. So looking forward to it. Because my brother, I don't think he's ever gone to a game. So for him to start off with the game like this, he's going to be a little bit spoiled. And every single time, like I read over that email or the call that they end up giving me, I think about how this is complete opposites from we were all the way at the top and nothing else was above us. and now being all the way at the bottom. So looking forward to that one, but I have the Ravens in that one hesitantly. The Lions do need a win. Otherwise, I'm going 1-2. There will be some question marks over there that the Packers are going to take over. What do you have for everyone?
Not much, man. Again,
Yeah.
I don't really, outside of the, I live in a bubble in my neighborhood.
Hmm.
Outside of that, I don't. There's a lot going on. Obviously, we texted about what happened last week.
Yep.
Still one of the most insane things I have ever seen with my own two eyes. I
Dog.
will never forget that in my entire life.
Hmm.
But no, actually, I will say, Penn State is a bye. I've mentioned that, and I'll be home this weekend finally for the first time in 2 weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks.
That's dope.
But both kids have a soccer game at the same time, so I
Hmm.
can't watch both of them. But I'm taking Mason to his. So this
Okay.
is I've seen this is my daughter's. This is Mia's 4th season of doing soccer, like what they're doing now. So Mason is now doing like practice during the week and then game on Saturdays. Last year it was like it was like an hour thing, half-hour practice and drills and like a scrimmage. So now it's like legit games. So I haven't seen him play yet. So I'm excited to see how he does in like real soccer against like other kids. It's also the first time he's playing other kids
Oh,
that are
that's
not
good.
on his team. So see him play. He had practice last night. He fucking dominated everybody.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to the homie dude. So I'm excited to see him play this weekend. I'm not gonna get to see my daughter play, but they both scored goals last Saturday too,
That's
in
good.
their games, and they both won. So, but yeah, my daughter did her first backflip in gymnastics last night. So
Wow.
that was pretty dope.
That's
So
awesome.
so yeah, a lot of bi-week activities with the family this weekend. So
Hmm.
what you got?
Yeah. No, so I got two. Number one is a complaint. The second one's going to be pretty dope. I didn't have Wi-Fi for 6 hours on a plane.
Oh,
Um, I tried to get it, and the Wi-Fi just didn't work. And my flight was at 10 o'clock at night. So mind you, at that point, it's just like, F it. I just don't care. I'm just gonna go to sleep. Like if anyone was checking to see if I was good, you was just gonna have to wait till the morning at that point because your boy was not about to keep trying with this thing. So when I woke up, randomly the Wi-Fi ended up working. Don't know how the hell that happened, but it did. The second one might be one of my favorite segments, and I also didn't know this. So Zay Flowers and DeAndre Hopkins did some sort of show. Essentially, they were fishing right outside of the Ravens practice facility up in Towson. Did not know that they had a pond right next to the practice facility. Zay Flowers going through explaining the different places in Maryland that he tried out to fish at, and he was fishing there. And then DeAndre Hopkins was there. Was never expecting that to be a combination that they would just be chilling on the water fishing. But they're both the Southern boys. So DeAndre Hopkins said he would always end up doing it. They were talking about the people they would never go fishing with on the team. Zay Flowers said, "Who would you guess?"
Lamar.
Yep, he did. Zay
Yeah.
Flowers was like, "I'm never going with LJ. LJ is not the one that ever wants to be around fishing, like touching the fish. That's just not my thing."
No.
And then DeAndre Hopkins said, "I would never go fishing with Isaiah Likely." And you just tell that's not their vibe. But you would
No.
think Lamar Jackson being from Florida that he would want to do that. It's not his
That's
thing at
surprising.
all.
Not surprising.
Yeah. So it's always dope when you see those different type of shows, how all they were doing was asking each other questions, but it was more of a environment they were in and not just a regular podcast environment. So getting players in their environment is always a good one. I'll keep you guys updated on everything that's going on. Next week, the last thing, it actually just came out that StubHub is going public. So that's something I do want to continue to see. I was able to get a couple of shares in their IPO, so I do want to see how that ends up going. Yeah.
Of course you did. Of course you did. Of course you did.
So, so we'll keep everyone posted on that. Until next time, we out.
Peace.